Hey guys, it's Rasmus here from PublishingLife.com, and in this video I want to talk about how to title a book. How to title a book in a way that's going to create as many sales as humanly possible. Now, this is a really important topic because I sincerely mean this when I say that when people create their book titles, the way that they're currently being created from publishers and our students that I see is one of the biggest mistakes. I see so many people doing it wrong, and it's also one of the most detrimental mistakes when publishing a book, because if you do not title it correctly, for one, people will not be able to find your book, and for two, even if they do find it, the title's not going to convince them or interest them and make them want to buy. So I have two principles that I want to talk about. There could be other small things that are important as well, but if you can do just these two things, you're 95% there in creating the best book title possible. So before we get into those, I think it's important to say that before you get your book written, before you create the outline, the first step you should be doing after you've decided the niche, the general idea of what the book is going to be, is to create the title. And the reason why is because if you were to create the outline and the book first, then you have the content, and then you have to create a book title that fits the content. You're kind of pigeonholing yourself into having to create a certain way. But if you're to create the title first, then you can do everything I'm about to say and create the best title possible, and then afterwards create an outline and a book that fits that title, because you have to nail the title part. So let's go into the two principles when it comes to creating your book title. I'll say the first one is keywords. We know this, but I want to explain it in a way that really makes sense. So what you need to do is find the keywords, or let's call it search terms as well. These search terms that people are searching into Amazon to find a book that is like the book that you want to create. So in our publishing program, AIA, we do these live coaching calls every single week, and we talk to students and they ask us questions. And something that is often asked is, hey, can you give me feedback on my book title? And whenever someone asks for feedback on a book title, before really saying anything, the first question that I always ask is, what are people searching to find this book? You have to know exactly the search terms that people are searching to find your book, because you have to use that information to create the book title. Without that information, you're guessing as to what words to include and the way that people search for a book like yours. Now, this part is super simple to do. As long as you have a general idea of what your book is about, then search it into Amazon, search different variations of it, and then there will be a drop down of suggested search results, and then you can see what people are searching related to your book topic. And those are the words that you want to include in your title. So my suggestion is to compile a list of, it could be up to 10 keywords that you're finding from the auto suggestions, and then have them in front of you, and those are going to really be your framework or your guide for the words that are going to be included in your title. So as an example, let's say your niche is it's at-home workouts to lose weight. That's the niche, just for the sake of this example. What you want to include in your title is those exact words that people are searching. I see a lot of people, they want to sort of get cute with the title. I'll talk a little bit about this after, and title it something different from others, which yes, makes sense, but you also have to include the keywords in there. So let's use the at-home workouts example. You could also, something similar that I've seen is titling something along the lines of at-home fat burner sessions. Different way of saying at-home workouts, but this is what's included in your title. This is not what people are searching into Amazon. So when people are searching in Amazon, your book's not going to appear because you do not have the exact words that they're typing. Weight loss workouts, whatever it is. And when someone searches a certain search term and they're searching through books, their eyes are going to be drawn to the title that is most similar to what they searched. It's not even going to show up in the first place, but you also want your title to be as similar as possible to the exact search terms that they're searching in. Now, I'll admit I feel slightly responsible for seeing people publish books that do not have an adequate amount of keywords in them and the right keywords in them. And the reason I say this is because in the past we've talked a lot about how do not keyword stuff. There's way too many keywords in your books or in your book titles. It doesn't sound nice. And yes, that's true. That's the way that a lot of people were publishing 1 to 2 years ago. And then when we said that, people kind of took it on the other spectrum, on the far side of it, and they started including not enough keywords, where they were going too, let's say, copyright heavy, having something that sounds nice, but it's not, the words that people are searching on Amazon are not included in the title. Therefore, your book title is not going to appear. So I want to give another example. Let's say you were to create a book about dog training. So a title that I've seen, something along the lines of titling A Man's Best Friend. Okay, we know at the time, talking about dogs. The step-by-step guide to dog training, yada, yada, yada. But when you're titling it A Man's Best Friend, no one's searching that. So don't get too cute with the titles in that sense. That's what I mean by coming up with these nice sounding titles, which you might see authority figures having titles like this. And the reason why it works for them is because they're not relying on people finding their books strictly through the Amazon and Audible search results. They have an audience. It sounds nice. They'll buy it. Really, however it sounds, they're probably going to buy it. So do not use the book titles of best-selling books as examples of what to follow. You really do have to focus on having the keywords in the title, the most highly searched ones, and then also making it sound nice, which I'll get into in the second point, which I might as well get into now. So the second point is it's not about making your book sound nice, but it's about your book title being outcome driven. It's actually speaking to what matters to them. So when someone reads your book title, it has to be instantly crystal clear what your book is about and what they can achieve after having read your book. Remember that publishing nonfiction books is essentially just giving a solution to someone's problem, and you want to talk specifically about that in the book title. So I want to bring up an example here. Found this random book on Amazon. It's a perfect example of what I'm saying. The title, Programmed to Fail, which is a example of a title that might sound nice. I don't think it even sounds nice, but it includes no searchable keywords. No one is searching Programmed to Fail. So they already messed that part up. But secondly, the subtitle, Discover How to Unlock the Solution to Your Problems and Become a Winner in the Game of Life. That subtitle doesn't mean anything. Unlock the solution to your problems. What solution and what problems? Be specific with what your book is. I have no idea what this book is about. Programmed to Fail. Discover how to have a successful mindset. That still doesn't mean anything. It's just fluffy and vague. And I do plan to create a separate video about this, about these sort of fluffy book titles that people are coming up with, or really books and publishing brands based off of things that aren't really like, they don't make that much sense. They're vague, right? I don't know what this book is about. Become a winner in the game of life. That doesn't mean anything. There's no outcome. There's no end goal. A winner in the game of life is just words. So that's an example of a title and subtitle that is not outcome driven. Let me give an example of a title that is outcome driven. So let's say that the niche that you're in is finance, money. So it's about how to make more money, how to save money, just how to have more money, right? And let's say that your target audience is for students, for college students. So how college students can have more money. Now, this is actually an example of a student that I spoke to in a Q&A call recently. So the title that they had created for this book was something along the lines of the 3-step beginner's guide to financial success for students. Okay, that was the title. Fine. Then the subtitle was learn about money and something else. But I want to focus on the sentence, learn about money. A college student does not want to learn about money. That's not the end goal or the outcome that they want to achieve after reading this book. They're not going to pick this up and think, oh, I picked this up because I want to learn about money. The reason why they picked this book up, thinking in put myself in the shoes of a young college student who's just invested $80,000 and is in $79,500 worth of debt. The reason why they picked up this book and want to have more money is so they can pay off their debt. That's the outcome that they want to achieve. So that's the outcome that you need to talk about in your book title. Do you see the difference in what I just said? You could say, buy this book to learn about money. That's essentially what the title is saying. Or buy this book so you can pay off your debt. People don't want to learn about money. That's not the outcome that they want to achieve. It is they want to pay off their debt. So you need to speak to the outcomes and the goals that they actually want to achieve. And I see many titles not doing this. I see most titles not doing this. So while I could give you more copywriting tips about how to actually make your title sound fancy, which is helpful, but I think more than fancy words is actually picking the right words, in this case, talking about the goals that they actually want to achieve. If you're including the right keywords in your title that people are actually searching for, and you're actually talking about the outcome they want to achieve, you're 95% there. And then with some nice copywriting, you can talk about, make it sound fancy. But that is the bulk of it. If you can do those two things, you have a successful book title. And if I were to put a number on it, I would say 90% of people are not doing these two things in their book titles. So this is extremely important. Keep these in mind. And that's what I wanted to say. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you disagree? And do you have any suggestions for any other videos that you'd like to see? We will be talking all about publishing, but also anything else. So hope you enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next video.